The longer you wait to ask for help, the more expensive the task becomes. People often rely on themselves for too long and wait until asking for help becomes harder than the task itself. Why does this happen? Let's understand it today in our video. The number one reason why this happens is optimism bias, which implies that we tend to overestimate the likelihood of positive future events and underestimate the probability of negative ones. This makes people assume that they will manage it later, solve it themselves, or recover in time. While an optimistic outlook does help in life, but there are certain situations where it needs to be dropped, especially if you are struggling with something and you need to ask for help. This same bias gets reflected in multiple aspects of life. So, for example, while doing investing, people would keep investing in an instrument which is not performed for a very long time. And although it has been going down, there is no positive news around it, people will keep investing in it because they expect that particular instrument to reach back to its old glory. Second, where we see this getting reflected is in insurance, where people do not buy insurance considering that everything will be fine in future. So optimism bias once again gets displayed there. Health decisions is one more place where people hugely underestimate downside risk, whether it be in terms of sticking to their exercise routine, to their diet plan, healthy eating, avoiding junk food. People always underestimate downside risk and are extremely optimistic that everything will be fine in future. Number two reason why this happens is rejection fear. Why is rejection feared? For that we have to go way back in time, and this fear is rooted in our primal need for tribal belonging. Our brains still react to social rejection as if belonging itself is under threat. And although that tribal belonging is not so relevant in today's world, but our minds have not adapted. So where do we see this age-old bias getting reflected? For example, in a corporate setting, a person who has an extreme workload but is not willing to talk to the reporting manager or teammates about it for the fear of getting rejected or for the fear of being judged. If we look at it, the person is choosing burnout rather than asking for help, which does not make sense if you look at the face of it. But that's exactly what this bias is making an individual do. Number three reason why this happens is self-sufficiency identity. While being self-sufficient is associated with all the positive qualities, but if taken too far, it can evolve into a situation where a person overestimates their ability to handle everything and consider it a hit on their identity if they have to ask for help. Something as simple as a person visiting their hometown after a huge gap of 10 or 15 years. The person will refuse to ask for help in terms of asking for directions. Why? Because in the person's brain, it is like it's the same hometown. But there can be a case that in this gap of 10 to 15 years, the roads have changed. New infrastructure has been built. So the same roads or structure, whatever is in the person's mind, do not apply. In such cases, it is perfectly normal to ask for directions, which is help. But in most of the cases, you will see an individual refusing to do so or asking too late. So I will say asking late usually costs more than asking for it early. Think about that.